All right, I got 1 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. It's today's March 15th, payday. You gotta like that. If people are waiting on that. Yeah. And our next meeting is, well, it's up in the air. We've got, or we'll be out pushing ORD to another district. So that time might be, we may end up having to skip the next one. I was going to talk to everybody about that.
Is that the Kansas City trip we're going, or is that
It's,
or some other?
I got it wrote down somewhere.
Well, I'll show it in a minute here, so just remember.
Yeah. I don't want to take your thunder on that, but yeah, hang on, I gotta let some more people in. But yeah, we'll either have it maybe the week before or the week after, which puts them close together. But we've been coming up with some stuff, so we'd like to keep it going. So we'll try to do that.
So letting people.
Sorry, I've got all these. I don't know how I'm getting these invites now. I have to. You're right. Probably go to Teams after this. Okay, so our next meeting's kind of up in the air when we're going to do that. Training. We've got training for all occasions, it seems like. Let me go out to my. Can you still see my screen and you see that it's out on CAD services training? Can you see that?
Looking good, Bill.
Yes. All right, good. It's a very powerful web page that we have now, where we have where you can locate your CAD training to sign up for classes. You can see, click on it. You can see that you can sign up for classes. You also have links to the online videos and manuals out here. And then we have our Mo.U online CAD courses for credit. So all the stuff that we have out there for credit is listed here. I got 3 more. And so it's that's where you can find all the CAD training for the classes and get credit for it. Our blog, we've changed to CAD services blog from GeoPack blog. So if I click that, you'll see that it goes out to our subject area, where we've got all the different WebExes and any kind of other pertinent information that we want to pass along, or if you want to pass along, you can go out there and add to it. So some type of discussions. So that blog's out there, and I always try to get the last, get the latest blog out there the next day. Hard to do all this multitasking, but I'm doing it. Also, if you notice on our webpage now, if you scroll down a little bit, Randall's been kind enough to go out here and list some YouTube playlists for us, so we can go look at OpenRoads Designer videos, which there are a bunch, or some Power GeoPack SS10 videos, got some survey videos, and some Mo.CAD services stuff out there. So there's all kinds of support out there, especially with the pushing the ORD, because we just basically do an update and show you some stuff, but to get the nuts and bolts of it, these videos are detailed. Okay, so you might want to go out and check them out. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. This talks about what we have available out at Mo.U. You can sign up there. Make sure you do that if you want to take one of these classes. Class schedule that we have so far is just updates. I mean, we're running out March 22nd and 23rd. We'll be out in the Northwest District for that. That's next week. We'll be out there visiting the good people of the Northwest. We might have 1 or 2 on. Mike Mooney's always on, so he's probably out there. April 5th and 6th, we'll be in Kansas City area. And then the 19th and 20th, that's when our WebEx is scheduled, is for the 20th. And actually, we'll be out there 19th, 20th, 21st. And that's the Southwest District for that training. So I don't know if I'll move that WebEx a week ahead or a week behind, but I'll send it out. I'll update the calendar and everybody will get a message on that or note. Okay, and then contact us if you need any training. We're also looking at going out and doing a little Road 1 class as we get done with these updates, and do an OpenRoads Designer Road 1. So we're looking at doing that.
And they'll probably be like in the June, July time frame for the new grads that we hire, if we do hire new grads. So
yes. Software updates. I'm gonna skip this slide because our presenter this month is Kevin Valle. He's gonna talk about ORD miscellaneous items. So I am going to share my screen with, or have Kevin share his screen if I can find you in the list.
But do we hit share content, Bill, or?
Nope, not
I
yet.
wait?
I got to make you a presenter.
Okay.
I'm letting you, now you'll do share and you'll pick the screen
Share
that you want to share.
content. Share content. And I'm going to share screen
You
number
have to hit
2.
the OK button down at the bottom. There you go.
You see it?
You're good to go, man.
Okay. So over the last several CAD advisory meetings, I've been kind of doing an OpenRoads Designer update. So I'll do that first, and then I'll get into the kind of the items I was going to cover this time. So again, kind of Bill kind of showed a little bit of this. You know, we have updated. Try to move. I got a dialog box in my way. There we go.
Sorry, Kevin. I took some of your thunder, did I?
Yeah, you took a little bit of my thunder, but we did Northeast in January, Central District hit in February. We just finished up Southeast back last week, I think it was. And our next group is the Northwest District. That's going to be next week. I think we're going to get all the training done on that 22nd, and then we'll stick around the next day just for any jobs that we can start the conversion on. We're still doing a lot of conversion for Southeast, but we're got a pretty good chunk of it done already. So then after that, we're heading to Kansas City on the 5th and 6th of April. Southwest, 19th and 21st, and then St. Louis. And then not listed in that group is Bridge. Bridge has not been converted yet. So if they receive any files from the districts that have been converted, we're going to, we talked to the Bridge folks, and we're going to kind of dumb down those files so that they can read them because they're still in SS10. But there is a process for that, and we've gone through it, and we think it'll work in the meantime until they get updated. So for the topics for today, it's kind of like a potpourri of items. So I immediately thought of Jeopardy, and they always have a potpourri category. So I'm going to cover the CAD potpourri. I'm not an expert on any of those other topics, so we'll let someone else handle that. So the first one that we're going to talk about is bridge surveys and profile sheets. And Shannon kind of talked a little bit about this, but I got some other stuff to talk about. Like there's a sheet model view tip that we're going to look at. We're going to talk about the HECRA converter update. That's the spreadsheet that you use for bridge surveys. The survey data to point list. We're going to kind of go over how to get ORD data into a point list that you can put into the HECRA converter spreadsheet. Then we're going to talk about chord curves. We've updated a few districts already, and we've seen a couple issues with chord curves. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Roadway Geometrics class that was, it's an old class that we used to have, and we've kind of brought it back to life again, and we'll talk about that for a little bit. We're going to talk about creating survey terrains. This will work on all terrain creation, but there was an issue in ORD with creating terrains, and we came up with a slightly different procedure, and we'll show you that. Then we're going to talk about just briefly about sending project files to construction. There's been some issues with that throughout the state, and we want to kind of briefly mention that. And I think we're gonna have a meeting after this meeting about that, and we'll talk more about it when I get to that in my PowerPoint. Then we're gonna talk about an ORD recap. We had a meeting up in Northeast, or we updated Northeast, and about a month or so after they got updated, they had a bunch of questions, and so we created a special meeting just for the Northeast users, and we were available, and they just fired us questions. And so I'm going to talk about that. And then the last thing I've got is the NHI urban drainage and culvert design. We've got some classes coming up, and I want to make you aware of it. And so we'll talk about that as well. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the bridge survey and profile sheets. And again, Shannon did a presentation on this, I believe, in the last CAD advisory group, and he did a really good presentation on it. He shared the link to his video in the chat, but I want to show you where that video is. It's in our CAD Services YouTube channel that Bill kind of mentioned a little bit earlier. And if you click on that, and this is on our CAD site, if you click on that OpenRoads Designer, it'll take you to the following page, and you just have to find the playlist that you're looking for, and it's in the ORD Road Help. So if you click on that, his little video is right there, and it's in another location as well, but if you need to find it, and again, that video dealt with creating a profile sheet that had multiple profiles in it for a bridge survey. So if you're doing that, and I've been converting the job, a bunch of us have been down here converting the jobs for the districts, and there's a lot of bridge surveys out there, so that would be a great video to watch if you're doing that. Here is a kind of a sheet he was showing in his presentation, and you can see the profiles up here, but they're very hard to see the profiles because the color yellow is the profile that he's trying to display there. But since we have a white background, it's not showing up really well. So the tip that I was going to show you on this, it came from the districts. They kind of mentioned it. So I'm going to open up, I've got a sheet, the same sheet right here. And what you can do is you can actually, you don't have to stick with the white background. You can actually change the background view of this sheet model. And to do that, all you have to do is go to the backstage, which is by going to the File pull down, sliding down to Settings, going to the User option, and then going down to Preferences. And in there under View Options, you can actually change the sheet background color. It was by default white, but if I toggle on, and then I can pick any color I want, but black seems to work well. If I toggle that on and I hit OK, and then go back to the file, you'll see that those profiles now pop out. So if you're doing bridge surveys and you got that white background and you're getting frustrated with it, I would go ahead and do that and get put a black background or something a little bit darker than white on it. Okay. We'll go back to the PowerPoint. The next thing that was updated just recently, and mainly due to ORD, was the HECRA converter spreadsheet. And it used to be called something a little bit different back when we had Power Geopack. So I kind of updated it to be more modern for OpenRoads Designer. But I want to point out, even though it's for OpenRoads Designer, Power Geopack SS10 and SS4 data still work in it just fine. So just don't if you're still in SS10 and you see OpenRoads Designer, don't worry about it. It still works just fine. The other thing that was updated in the spreadsheet was there was a video in there on creating profiles from survey data, and it used the old GPK file to create it in the DNC manager. We've created it, Shannon's got a way of doing it, and there's a slightly different way of doing it with this video here as well. But either way, you don't need a GPK anymore to create profile sheets anymore in ORD. So just be aware of that. And one last thing I support this spreadsheet. I created it several years ago, and it's been through several iterations. But probably the biggest issue that we have with the spreadsheet that people have a problem with is getting the stationing in there correctly. Okay, there's every valley section, it asks for a station value. Now, the HECRA program that you're converting this data to really doesn't care about station values. The main thing it's looking at is northing, easting, and elevations of each stream bed. And to show you this, I'm going to go ahead and just visualize this bridge survey real quick so you can see what it looks like. And it takes a minute or two to get this thing to process. This is a pretty big, a lot of data in this bridge survey. But I'm going to show you the valley sections, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the stationing values to just be something, some just generic station values. So there's what the bridge survey looks like, and you can see all the valley sections and the channel sections and all that stuff. But just to show you that the station values really don't matter in here, the main reason they're there is that you put the sections in properly, from the highest station value being at the upstream and the lowest station values being at the downstream. And the only thing that really matters is that these station values are in order. So for example, I could just put in 10 plus 00 there, and the next one down I could put in 9 plus 00, enter that, If I just keep on going down the spreadsheet, make this one 8 plus 0, 0. These are just, again, I'm just pulling these out. It makes no correlation between the values I'm typing in and where they're actually falling on the stream bed. But they're in order though. Quite a few here. 4 plus 0, 0. 3 plus 0, 0. I think I'll go all the way down to 1 plus 0, 0. So 2 plus 0, 0, and then the last one, 1 plus 0, 0. So if I visualize that bridge survey, you'll see that you'll get the same exact results. So again, the bridge survey, the HECRA program that you're trying to get this data to bridge for really doesn't matter about stationing. It's about northing, easting, and elevations. And so once this pops up, you'll see that the valley sections will just plot in the same location, just like that. So just be aware of that when you're doing if you're using this spreadsheet and you're doing a bridge survey, you can try to get the station values in there, but again, if you get stuck, the stationing doesn't really matter. So I just want to give you that as a little tip on that spreadsheet. So, all right, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. The other thing with bridge surveys is getting survey elements into the spreadsheet. And we're going to cover two different things. We're going to cover getting the valley sections and the stream bed into that point list. And so I'm going to open up a survey file. We'll do that real quick on both the strings and the points. And it's going to take a second to switch files here. Check it in. And so this is just a newly converted file, I believe from Southeast or Central District somewhere. But so say I want to get a stream bed into a format that I can put into that bridge survey spreadsheet, all you got to do for the stream beds, you can tell this is a survey string because it's got, when you click on it, it kind of gives you that look. And the other thing I want to point out too, if you get a survey file or you copy a survey file from Survey, there might be something called decorations. They did away with annotation in Survey and they came up with something called annotations. And just to show you what those annotations look like, if you open it up and you got a big red blob of text out there, that's decorations. All the decorations are red. You can have names, you can have field codes, you can have elevations, descriptions, if there's a description, and so on. You don't have to turn them on if you don't want to. You can just, if you're looking at trying to figure out what point you're on and stuff like that, you can still hover over the point. But to get, export this stream bed into a format that you can put into that spreadsheet, it's real simple. If you have the survey file, you just have to open up the details pane, which is under the survey workflow analyze. So there's the details pane. Once that's open, and you can dock this down low to the side to the right, I'm just going to leave it floating right there. If you click on the whatever valley section or stream bed that you want, if you go over to the heads up tools and go to the second last one, which is edit point feature, we're not going to edit it. We're just going to use that functionality. It will put every point along that stream bed or valley section into this format here. And what you can do once you have it there, you can just highlight it, go out to the blue area, do a copy. You open up a Excel spreadsheet, you can then very quickly paste it in there. So you'll have all the information you need for that spreadsheet. You'll have if you want to bring the point name over, you can. It's not necessary for that spreadsheet. You'll have northing, easting, and then the elevation. So just a real quick and easy way to do that. Save that. I'm going to go back to my, the other thing I'm going to show in that file, survey file is, whoops, you can get point information very easily too. Even though this is a survey point, you highlight some points out there, you can go to the geometry tab. If you go to the reports, even though this is a horizontal geometry report, it'll actually display the survey points as well. If you click on horizontal point report and give it a sec, you got to accept the points you have selected out there. It'll bring up the following report. And again, even though it's a 2D report, it actually will report on the survey. It'll give the point name, the feature, and there's the information you're really wanting: northing, easting, and elevation for that bridge survey. Back to my PowerPoint. The next thing we've seen some issues with chord defined curves, and so I'm going to go ahead and show you what we've been seeing. Bentley calls this a glitch, and I think I talked about this briefly in a previous meeting. And we're trying to catch these as we convert them. It only deals with converted jobs, and so I'm going to kind of show you what we're seeing, just in case when we do come to your district, or if we have already. I want you to be on the kind of the lookout, just in case if I accidentally missed a file. Wait for the program, it's slow. It's opening up, closing down that bridge survey file, and we're opening up a civil geometry file. Slow. So here is some data from Central District, and in this alignment, we have several curves in it. We got a curve there, we got a curve there, and a curve there. And it happens to be that every one of these curves is chord defined. And so when I upgrade these files, I happen to run a report on it once I go into the file, just to see if the ending station matches what the report says. So I go into the report, and what I do is I just go all the way down and I look at the ending station. And the ending station on this one is 359160. Well, that's not matching this text out here. And this text that you see is from SS10. It's from the DNC manager. So this text out here, or this annotation for the alignment, is static. And so that's the first thing I check for. And so I noticed that there was a difference there. So I called Bentley, and they said, yeah, there's they call it a glitch. To fix this, all you have to do in any file that has a chord defined curve in it is, again, go to the backstage. We're going to slide down to settings. We're going to go into file this time. We're going to go to the design file settings. And all you have to do is come in here and switch it, whether it's arc or chord. You just got to switch it to the other option. In this case, I'm going to go from chord to arc. I'm going to hit OK. As soon as I go back to that file, if I run that report again, if I can get it to pop up, hit F4 real quick. Come on, report. There it is. If I run that report one more time and go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that now magically the stationing works. So they call it a glitch. We're trying to, every time we convert a job, and if there's chord defined data, we're trying to check it, double check it, and do this little switch. On the Northeast, we didn't figure this out till after we went to Central District. So on the Northeast, I'm still going back and checking the Northeast jobs just to make sure that this data is correct. So, but there is another issue that we've also found that is a true bug. And so I'm going to show you that. And it only deals with chord defined curves and data that's been imported from SS10. And check in that file and open up another file. And this alignment I created and then in SS10, and I updated it to ORD. But if I go in, what we have here is we have a chord defined curve, and then we have an arc defined curve. And then we have a station equation past it. And that's the issue, is if you have a station equation past the chord defined curve. And so if I go into this report, or into the report for this alignment, I just want to see if I need to do that little glitch fix for the stationing. And I'm going to also look at the PT station of that first curve. Because if the first curve is chord defined, so if the PT is off on that, I got 811472, and up here is 8117. So yep, there is a problem. It's not matching the old static annotation from SS10. So again, I've got to go to the backstage, settings, file, design file settings, switch the arc this time to chord, hit OK, head back, run the report one more time, look at that PT station, and that PT station is magically fixed. So it's matching it now. But the problem is if I go down to that station equation, we got a problem. In the report, that station equation has a back station of 134.99, and the back station was supposed to be 135 plus 25. So that station equation is not moving for whatever reason. If I click on the alignment itself, you can actually see that it says the station equation is supposed to be at 135.25, which doesn't match what came out of SS10, or it does match what comes out of SS10, but it's not lining up at the same location. It's off a little bit by this much. And so that causes everything beyond that station equation to be off. So if I look at the ending station and I look at that report, that ending station is now going to be off as well. So if I open up that report one more time, go all the way down to the end, you'll see that the ending station does not match what came out of SS10. It's slightly off. So Bentley, I logged that to Bentley. That is a bug. And so what we're trying to do is store these types of alignments after the fact in ORD if they have an equation in there. I'm still working with Central District on one of their alignments that we're having a little bit of an issue with, where I'm hoping to get it resolved here in the next day or so. But just be aware of that. So the next thing on my list here is the Roadway Geometrics class is back. I don't know if many of you, I think a lot of you taken this class, especially people who've been around here a while. This was a class that Alexa Mitchell taught way back when, and kind of got outdated the standards inside the class, and so we just kind of pushed it off to the side. And then there's a little bit of a request from the districts to bring this class back, so we went back through this class and updated it to the latest standards in the EPG and the AASHTO Green Book 2018. And so for this class, the purpose of the class is basically to introduce a new highway designer and technicians the concept needed for highway geometric design. And another reason is to familiarize them with the EPG and the AASHTO Green Book. So if you have any new people in your district that you think this class would be good for, I would point them to this class. It was a good class that Alexa did way back when. The sections cover design and control of criteria, and there's the items for that. The horizontal alignments, we get into that. We also get into super elevation and widening and how that all works. And then the last chapter is only 3 sections. The last one deals with sight distance and vertical alignments, and those items are covered in that section. That class, again, like Bill showed you, is at our training section of our webpage. You click on that, it's at the very bottom called Roadway Geometrics, and it is a Mo.U class at this time. We're not teaching it in person right now, but it's out there on Mo.U to get credit. The next thing that we kind of discovered when updating districts is survey trains were acting a little bit differently when we tried to create them. So let me open up another file so I can show you that. Switch over to ORD again. And this method that I'm going to show you on how to create trains can work with any train that you have. But with survey, sometimes they have 2 terrains in one file. And what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to take it out of the survey file and then create a separate terrain file to give to the district roadway users. And so this surveyor was out there trying to create a terrain file with these 2 terrains in it. And the way we do it in the past with SS10 is we would, you would open up a blank 3D file, reference in the survey file, which I did here. This is a blank file with the survey file referenced in. And then in the reference dialog, we would do a merge to master, and that would merge in that terrain information. Now, when you merged it in, it turns it into like MicroStation graphics. But as soon as you do a set feature definition and apply a terrain feature definition, it would turn it back into a terrain. And that we've been using that method for in SS10 for many years. But for whatever reason in ORD, it only allows you to set one of the terrains with a feature definition, a terrain feature definition. When you try to do the other terrain, it won't let you. So the new way of doing this for the surveyors, and we're going to start showing the surveyors this as well, is what you need to do is use a different tool in the terrain set of tools that you have. The first thing you need to do is draw a boundary around the terrains that you want to bring in, kind of like so. And then in the terrain tools, the tool that we figured out that would work is under additional methods and sliding down to create clipped terrain model, create clipped terrain model. And so what we're kind of doing is we're kind of tricking the program because we're creating a boundary around the terrains, and we're going to clip out anything outside of the boundary. So the first thing that it wants to know is it wants to know what is the terrain or the reference terrain model. So I'm going to do the left one first, and then it says locate the clipping element. So I'm going to locate the clipping element, and I'm going to reset the complete because there could be more clipping elements. And now it's going to ask for, well, how far horizontally do you want to clip that from that boundary that you have? I'm going to say 0 to that, and same thing for vertical. And then it says, do you want to clip internal or external? I'm going to clip external, which is nothing. I'm going to clip nothing, and it's going to build that terrain right there. Right? And so that worked for the first one, and we're going to do it for the second one. It's already asking for the second terrain model. Pick it, locate the clipping element. I'm going to reset the complete, and then I'm going to left click through the offsets, and I'm going to clip external again, and there's that second terrain. So that's almost an easier way of creating terrains for surveys. So I think we're going to probably update our manual to show them that method for bringing terrains into a blank 3D file. Let me go back to the PowerPoint. Next, we're up on to sending project files to construction. Again, this topic has been coming up the last, I would say, month or so. And people are, I don't know if they're forgetting or just don't quite remember the correct way to send files out to construction. And there is a way to do it now in SS10. But I was going to have a big long presentation on this, but we decided that we're just going to have a separate meeting with the CADD advisory members. Because one of the big points is when we go to ORD, there's really no plan right now for putting ORD out in construction. And so we're going to talk about how it's going to change from SS10 ORD. And so after this meeting, I will send an invite out to every CADD advisory member for that meeting. It'll probably not be next week. It'll be the week after that because we're going to be in Northeast next week. It'll probably be early the next week after that. And we're going to discuss this subject in great detail. And the other thing I want to bring up is Northeast, after they were implemented with ORD about a month and a half or so afterwards, they had a whole bunch of questions for CADD. And so Joe McNeil from Northeast just decided, why don't we just have a CADD meeting and go over these questions? And so I thought that was a good, I mean, after we did the meeting, it was a real good meeting. We actually learned a lot from them. And so I'm going to, for the districts that we also just finished, like Southeast, Central District, I will probably offer the same type of thing, that if they have questions and if they want to get together, we don't mind having this recap meeting because we learn a lot of stuff from the district. So it benefits both of us that we can show you things that we've seen and tricks and stuff like that. And if you're having issues, then it kind of helps us to focus on what issues you're having. And so Central District, I'll probably pick somebody from the advisory team and I'll send it to them and see if they're interested in that meeting. Same thing for Southeast. So, and then next slide. The next thing we have is we have an urban or NHI urban drainage class coming up. It's going to be here in Jeff City, March 29th through the 31st. If you know somebody interested in this class, talk to your district design engineer, because Steve Atkinson sent out an email within the last week looking for people to put in this class. I think we have, like upper 20s or 30 spots for this class, and I don't think it's full yet. So if you have anybody that's interested, again, talk to your district design engineer. I believe for this class, you got to have the attendees submitted by tomorrow. So it's a kind of a fast thing because it's right at the end of March there. So the second class that we have from NHI is the culvert design class. So if you're interested in that one's going to be in Jeff City again, May 24th through the 26th. I don't think we need to have the attendees for that one just yet. I think that's still a little ways down the road. So, but for the urban drainage, if you're interested in that class, talk to your district design engineer. And I don't know if you've all seen this out. This is out on the CADD website. This is kind of our hydraulic design training progression. That urban drainage class is right there. And there are some prerequisites for it. So hopefully some of these you can take web-based. So like for the urban drainage, you need to have one of these two classes. One's a web-based, one's an actual paid class. And then you need to have also these as a prerequisite. But again, both of those are web-based. So you can get those from our website. And then the the culvert class is this one here. And the only prerequisite is that one right there. And then again, it's a free one. So Bill, I think I covered all the CAD potpourri subjects. Maybe for the next CAD advisory meeting, you can have someone else cover the other topics.
Shannon could probably cover the hit and run driver thing.
Okay, so
And Jen could cover famous cats.
Oh yeah, why does that look like the Jen Weaver edition of Jeopardy?
It's just random. It just popped up there randomly. I don't know how it came out like that. So that's all I got, Bill, I think. Let me go on to, that's my last slide. So
good. I'm gonna present myself and share. Yeah. Share that up. That was Kevin. And let's see, this month we have special presenters. We have Danica Stovall Taylor and Ryan Martin from the Bidding and Contract Services. They're going to talk about the J and the new job number. Let me see if I can find them. Where'd my list of people go? Let's see if I can find it. I don't know which one is sharing. Who wants to share their screen?
Oh, I don't have anything to share.
Oh, nothing to share. You just want to talk? Okay. I'll mute me.
Okay. Hi, I'm Danica. It's nice to see you guys. I know that Ryan sent out an email to most of the, I think, TDs and the PMs, and kind of got people stirred about our job numbering system. And it boils down to that we created multiple divisions use the project number, and once it gets to us, the J is added. You guys add the J, and we put it into AshToware. And then once the project's awarded through AshToware, it goes to other divisions, and other divisions use the AshToware. And so right now it is looking for that J. So if we remove the J in AshToware, then it has a lot of problems in their systems. It truncates the first letter. And so their job numbers don't match, and we won't be able to find and locate that. So that's why we have to have the J. I think there's a lot of concerns. Chris was asking us a lot of questions about what you guys need to use the J beforehand. And really, it doesn't affect anything except for into AshToware. So like your filing system inside ProjectWise, it doesn't really have to have that J there. The other thing, like e-projects, I know, I don't think you're supposed to have the J in there, so that it'll link up into Sims. So really, it just has to be in the files inside the or the plan sheets in Ashtoware. That's where it needs to be. In the plan sheets, we kind of want to have the J in there with that, because when we have a contract, it'll have the J in there because it has to be in Ashtoware. So the contract will have a J. And we want the plan sheets to kind of match the J, the contract, so that if we ever go to court or something, it's very clear and that it's all one job, or they match. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Is there questions or comments or anything I can try to answer as much as I
This
can?
is Chris,
Yeah.
on CAD support. So you're saying that the labeling inside the actual plan sheet where you actually put the job number, that's where you want the J, not the actual file name of the DGN file.
Right. So yeah, inside your plan sheet, the title block over to the side, it needs to have a J in there, but the actual file name, your folders, all of that, we're okay with not having a J.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Anybody else? They're here now.
I know that we talked to Steve, I think it was earlier, and he had the history of where the J came from. I wasn't aware of why all of a sudden we start, why years and years and years ago, because the whole time I've been here, we've always had the J there. But he remembers why we added the J, but
What was the reason?
Not have a J.
Oh, okay.
Hey, this is Jeff Franks in Central District.
hey,
Hey, can you hear me? Okay.
yep.
I had a question about the EPG, and I think I had talked to Kevin Vollett last week about this. But I guess projects that will be submitted, the SS4 and SS10 GeoPack projects, I guess the deadline for them is January of 2023. And I have a project that will not meet that deadline. So I was wondering if that applies to, or how is that applied? Because I guess it's pretty unclear to me. In fact, I got it up right here. It says projects currently designed with SS4 or SS10 and Power GeoPack will be accepted until January 1st, 2023. So, I mean,
Jeff, I
does
think that was more of a CAD thing that we put in there. We were told to put that in there, and
okay.
the main
Yeah.
reason. And Steve, I don't know if you can answer more.
Well, I was just going to throw in that, that was a discussion with Kenny mainly, and we
Okay.
had to have a date or no one would ever change. There's certain, mainly consultants that would probably never change. So we wanted to put, it's
Oh,
fairly
go ahead. Sorry.
arbitrary. It's fairly arbitrary, but if you have a project that's running past, I think just,
Okay.
let it be known, and I don't think it'll be a big deal.
Okay.
I think the same thing with a consultant, like if a consultant identified that they legitimately have a project that's going to be an SS10 beyond that, it's not the end of the world. We just want people to, be proactive and move when they can.
So if a consultant say starts their project in October in SS10,
They
if
should
they
not
submit it, they can.
They shouldn't be doing that, really.
Yeah, I know, but there's always a case. So
yeah.
Would that
Tell them
still
no.
be accepted? If it's submitted, would it be
Yeah.
be
If it's-
acceptable to submit
Yeah,
that?
if it's legitimate, yeah. But if you can, on new contracts, if you can, strike the SS10 out of it, put ORD, that'd be the best.
Okay. Okay.
So Jeff, if your job lasts till 2040, you can still be an SS10. So just throwing it up.
I think it will. So, okay, thanks a lot, guys.
More questions for Danica and Ryan? Anything? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, our next presenter for next month to be Jim Copeland, land surveyor coordinator. Again, I don't know about the date. First I was looking at putting it on Thursday, but I think we're coming back on Thursday.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Do we have Chad still having something to do this month, or is he going to put that off till next month?
Chad? I don't know. Chad didn't get a hold of me. Chad, you got anything?
I was going to add something. If not, I could just send it through an email.
We got
Either
14
or.
more minutes if you want. If you won't take that long.
Mine will only take about 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, let me make you presenter, Chad. I didn't, let's see.
Well, I told Kevin about it, but I forgot to mention something to you.
It's okay. It's all right. You can share your screen now, I believe.
Getting ready to. All right. Can you see my screen?
I see your desktop. Yes.
Okay. Just something that's a little bit different between SS10 and ORD is the place note tool. Right now in the place note tool in SS10, whenever you come in here, you have the option to either toggle on or toggle off this inline leader very easily if you want it or not whenever you place a note. So if you come in here and I'll type in some text and I turn this on, whenever I place the note out there, it has that inline leader. That's the way it works in SS10. Well, in ORD, it works a little bit differently. So if I go to ORD and I come up here to my ribbon for the general annotation and you go to place a small note, you'll notice that that toggle is no longer there. So it's not as easy just to toggle that off or on. Now, the user can come in here and go to the dimension style and turn that on, which is very easy to do, and they can set the distance. But what I was going to poll the users, and I was going to send an email after this, is what do you guys want set as a default? Do you want to have this inline leader toggled on whenever you come up here to try to place a note through the task, or do you want to have it defaulted to where it's turned off? So basically, whichever one gets the most votes will win, and after that, I will make it so. But
Can we
probably
vote?
send an
Can we vote
Do
more
what
than
now?
once, Chad?
Vote more than once. No.
It all depends. I'll have to count the votes and double check them.
Okay.
Gonna start a civil war with this.
Just, I know. So just kind of think about that, and I'll send that email out after this meeting. And I like to have it done hopefully by Friday, which should be pretty simple. But like I said, whichever one gets the most votes will win, and then I'll set that as the default. I know Bridge by default they have this toggled on, but for design, it's kind of up to you guys. So that is all I was going to show.
Thanks, Chad. Yeah, I'll give them something to think
Problem.
about, and you send that email out, they'll be
That's right.
be able to do it. Okay, let's see if I got. Am I sharing my screen yet? Nope.
Not yet.
We are almost done.
You're back. You
Cool.
got your,
All right.
there you
Yeah, I
go.
wanted this big presentation because these people usually don't know if they're presenting or not the next month. So Jim, you're up next month, just to let you know. And it could be the second week of April, or it could be the fourth week of April. So I guess we'll talk about it, or we may push it off. We don't have a whole lot to share. We may push it off to the next month. So something we'll talk about, and then I will send a calendar invite or an update of what's going to happen on that. Any other questions over what Kevin had presented on today? He had a lot of stuff to get out there for you. I know half of you haven't been through the ORD training, but it's coming. Any questions?
That's Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
I kind of got in late, so I apologize about that. Did have one question. We were having a discussion about it earlier this morning. about converting projects from SS10 to ORD. Say you got a job that's just basically the survey's been done, nothing else has been taken care of. Would it be easier to have the surveyors re-import the data into the ORD format or convert it another way?
My survey files are real easy to convert. They're almost foolproof. And the good thing is once you convert the survey file, they can continue to work in that file with no problem. So survey files, not a problem.
I recall you saying that, but we were talking, or this was one that, I say, we've just fairly finished getting the survey data done.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if it was easier since they are just finishing processing it, whether it'd be easier to send it out in the ORD format or convert it over. But it sounds like we can go
if
either
they want
way.
to re-import it, that's fine. It would be easier for me not to do it at all. But
Well, naturally.
but I have no problem converting it. It takes survey files take less than 2 minutes to convert. So
Awesome. All right.
Mike, it looks like you're French now. You got Muno at the end of your name instead of Mooney. I don't know what happened.
Wow.
It's all good.
And I say, apparently I can't type today either, but that's nothing new. All right.
Any other questions? Anybody got anything? All right. I guess we'll see you next time is what we'll do.
sounds good, Bill. Thanks.
Y'all have a good one.